What's dear to me is dear to my God. I can't shed more tears, I know it's time to fight. It's time to remove the mask. For once, let us be honest. We parents will not step back. Our children deserve the best. Punished for protecting them. Where is the justice in all that? Our voices rise because our love is deep. Return the innocent, hear our hearts beat. Yeah, yeah. It's time to remove the mask. For once, let us be honest. We parents will not step back. Our children deserve the best. It's time to remove the mask. For once, let us be honest. We parents will not step back. Our children deserve the best. It's time to remove the mask. For once, let us be honest. We parents will not step back. Our children deserve the
I have another
best.
story right now. We have a story right now with a foster child, a foster kid, adult, young adult that wants to speak out. We only have him for a very short time right now. I've been talking to his mom. His name is Kris, K-R-I-S, and they will be coming on. Kris is going to speak out, and he's going to expose foster care. He's going to expose the abuse of foster care. We do this in hopes of more and more young adults and children speaking out and telling what's happening to them in this diabolical mess, this diabolical evil, family corruption, child predator service, foster care, non-care, child stealing, adoption industry. So we were going to wait for them to come on here. Let me see. I'm waiting on his mom, waiting on him to come on. So just bear with us because it's like kind of last minute. But I have some time, and I'll be waiting for all of you guys to start joining on anyway now. Yes, thank you, Dawn. I did put my jacket on, and actually this is a special right now about foster care. I have a young man that wants to get on and expose it, so I'm sorry we couldn't get you on the last one. Well, we got you on, but we couldn't hear you. But yeah, because I had to rush, I just got in the car with my t-shirt, but it's actually warm in New York right now, even though there's snow on the ground. It's not like warm hot, but it's compared to what it's been. So hi, Jen, how you doing? Okay, there's Kris. So Kris, let's see if you can actually, let's see if I can find you here. All right, I do not see you in the queue, so what I need you to do is I can try to invite you, but there's no add button for you, so it would probably be better if someone's saying no sound. You guys can't hear me? Okay, here comes Kris. So he does hear me. So everybody will welcome Kris. Hi, Kris. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing good. And we just want to thank you for coming on today and speaking out, because not only are you speaking out on your behalf, but you're a voice for countless young adults and children who've been put through this hell. So we really appreciate you coming on. It's something that is extremely needed, and I commend you for doing so. I don't know if your mom wants to come on too, but did you want to lay a little? Hi, how are you?
Good.
So we've been talking back and forth, your mom and I I was happy to hear that. I have a lot of young adults and children and young teenagers that write me a lot, And a lot of them don't see their families at all, and they tell me how they miss them and they want to go home. And people think that they're completely Stockholmed out, which Stockholm means that they don't want their families. But the truth is, from the consensus that I hear from talking to them, they want to go home. Can you lay a little foundation about what's going on with you, and what state you're in, those kind of things that people would want to know that don't know anything about your story?
Of course. So right now I am in Great Falls, Montana. Well, technically I'm visiting with my mom right now, but I have been in group homes since I was 12 years old. I am now 17. I've been through a lot. There's been a lot of really traumatic things that have happened when ever since I started going into like group homes. And like I'll give you an example. So I was in AYA, and I was 12 years old. There was a guy who was I want to say about 13 to 14, and he, like, I was a trouble kid. I didn't like authority. I didn't like anything like that, and so I was always like grounded and stuff, and nobody would ever really listen to me whenever I try to like speak up about anything. And there was a kid that was very liked within that community, within staff and with youth. And one day he and I were actually roommates, and he told me that he was like, Kris, I've been dreaming about us. And I was like, I don't understand like what you're coming from. And he exposed himself to me. And like I told him, I was like, you're supposed to be in treatment. Like you're supposed to actually be getting stuff like you're supposed to be getting help to like not be able to do any of this. And he was just like, as long as nobody finds out like it, then we're okay. And I guess like I told him, I was like, I'm going, if like this keeps happening, I'm going to go to like the therapist and let him know like, hey, you're doing this sort of stuff, and I'm trying to be good. Like I'm trying to be a good kid and get home. And it was basically I'm a bad kid, he's a good kid, whose voice is they gonna like listen to. And it was really hard for me for a while. I tried to, I guess, like fit in. I guess we could say that was more of a like forced mutual sexual relationship, because I felt that I had no one that would listen to me. Like I was scared to go to anybody. And like another instance was when I was about 7 years old, my cousin, I was down in Helena, or not Helena, I was down in California, visiting my aunt and my nephews and nieces. And my cousin, he was very nice to me. Like I felt that he was someone that I could actually like listen to someone. Like he would listen to me and he would understand what I was going through. And he, after a while, he kind of got to that point where he asked if I wanted to play a game. And I mean, I was 7 years old, and of course I wanted to play a game. Like I was a kid. But it turned out that game was very sexual, and I was sexually abused that night. and it was really hard. I didn't come out with it until about, I want to say about 3 years ago, when I was 14. And I mean, my mom knew there was something wrong, but I didn't know, like, what, like, I didn't know how to tell her. I was scared about, like, what was gonna happen. And I guess I just didn't know what to do. When I was in a group home, that was when that came out, when I was talking to my therapist, and she said, well, it was 7 years ago, there's nothing that we can do now, so, I mean, we're just gonna talk about it. And I believed her, because I thought, she's a therapist, she was someone who, was supposed to know these things. And then I got in trouble again, and then I went to YTC, the group home I'm currently at now. But then I got in trouble there for having a phone because I wanted to be social. I wanted to be a normal teenager because 5 years and locked up, it's horrible, and it's just really hard. And then I got put into JDC, and one of the questions was, have you ever been sexually abused? And that, I started crying in that cell. And I let them, they asked me what was wrong, and I told them that I was sexually abused, but I was told that there was nothing that something could do. There was nothing that could happen. And the police officers, they told me there's definitely something that we can that can happen. We need to file a report right now. And she was probably one of the, I guess I want to say angels of that, because that was something that someone I could actually tell, and she'd actually believe me. And it just made me feel so relieved that there was something that can happen, that someone actually cares. From what I've heard, there has been a report, filed report about that, but nothing has happened. There has been no, I guess, search for him or no anything. And it kind of gives us a sense of hopelessness. But I've learned throughout these 5 years that I'm my own person, and that I actually do have a voice. And that's why I'm here now, because I've learned that from what I say, it can help others. And I've always wanted to help others ever since I was a kid. From firefighting to joining the army to just this. I'm willing to share my story to be able to help out anybody that I can, and be able to help and to be able to help anybody. And Mom was a big part of that. She pushed me to be able to say hey, I'm never gonna leave you no matter what happens, and I just want you to be there, and I'm gonna be there with you the whole 9 yards. And she was probably one of the main parts in my life that I'm never gonna forget.
Moms are good, right?
My mom's very awesome. She's she's great.
Thank you for sharing that, and sharing that so publicly. And it is something that, the voice is it's the most powerful thing. It created the heavens and the earth. So the spoken word, it's very powerful. And what you just did is very powerful. It may seem like a small thing, but it's really huge and it's very impactful. And I am so sorry for what you've been through. And I realize just from knowing that something that somebody's been through here, when it's not handled properly, it carries out and carries out. And had somebody or had this system known how to handle things properly and keep children and families, and actually work something out in a way that is workable rather than continual abuse. You know, when something bad happens, a lot of further abuse continues to perpetuate from that because it's not handled properly. And you going through it, could you say that sounds like the truth to you? Or, you know, would you have handled it different if you were in an authoritative position? Would you have handled it different, or in a professional position, being an insider?
All honesty, I know this may sound like I'm bashing someone, but I'm not. I'm just letting people know AOIA is probably one of the most corrupt places that I've ever been in. There was times where I was even with a family and like in a family therapy group with my mom and one of my therapists, and there was a time where I was trying to like say exactly like what I felt, but it wasn't up to her standards. So she said, no, that's not how it is. This is how you should be feeling. And, you know, I was in there for, I want to say about 9 months when this happened. And like, I was so convinced that she knew what was best for me that I needed to listen to her. I needed to like take what she said and like internalize it. And it was just bad. And one of the my other therapist actually, he called it scare tactics, but he said when I was misbehaving, he told me a story about a man who was in jail, or is in jail, I guess, and he would sit down and watch all the fresh meat who comes through prison, and he basically said that if I don't shape up, they're gonna have a party, and guess who's gonna be the special guest? And me being brainwashed as I was, I agreed. I was like, you know, that would be me. I would be that person. And it's traumatic to really have a therapist, or at least that's what he calls himself, have that person tell me that if I don't shape up, I'm gonna get raped. That that probably is one thing that scared me the most. That definitely scared the crap out of me, and I didn't know how to handle it. And like I wanted some way that I could actually like, I guess, let my anger out, or let some sort of emotion out, that I clung to the first thing that like came to me. And there was another young man who was very manipulative. He was very I guess persuasive in the way he was sounding, and like he was basically like, you know, I know how you're feeling and I want to make it like all much better, and like I'll help you out if you have sex with me. And I was like, you know what, like this, I don't know what else to do. I tried to go to my therapist and nobody would listen to me. So I was like tricked into that sexual relationship, and then at the very end, he turned it around on me and went to the therapist, and he was also one of the liked kids, and he basically said, this guy, he forced me into everything. So then here I am, like, what the hell? And then I basically just agreed because I had nothing else to do. I wanted to get out of there, and I figured there was no way out unless I go to jail, and that was the quickest way to go. So I said, I want to go. Like, I did that. Yeah, sure. I don't care what happens to me. I'll just go. And then next thing you know, about 45 minutes later, there was police officers standing right there, and they took me to jail. Even when I was in jail, they were just like, you've done some pretty shitty things in your life, and you need to change it, and you need to make sure that you do all the right things, and just make sure that you never have to go to sex for anything ever again. And like, in my mind, I'm thinking, it wasn't that I wanted sex, it's that I wanted to someone. I clung to the first thing that actually showed care for me, and that just happened. And I graduated from Pine Hills, and then I went to another group home, Radkey, which is the one that I told you about with the with when I told about my cousin sexually molesting me. And that was that, and now I'm in YTC again. For the first time I was in for a year, and then they caught me with the phone, and then they sent me back to Pine Hills, which then, I graduated from high school, so I was graduated a year early, actually. So, there's a positive thing in something that was so dark. And, like, after I got out, I'm in YTC again, and I'm at that stage where I'm mature enough that I don't need to be in a group home. And I've told them that. Like, I have the right mindset. I have about $5,000 saved up in my account that I can, like, get an apartment with, and I can stabilize myself. But they said that, we have to go through all these steps, and we have to go through all these different things that, we're going to have you have a mentor and do all this. And I was like, I'll do whatever it takes to get out as soon as I can.
Right.
And he was just basically like, all right, well, I'll talk to your mentor, or see if I can get her to be your mentor, and see if we can get you out of that place really quick. And I was like, all right, like, you're my PO. I believe in you. Like, you're on my side. Nothing happened. He says that he texted her, and she said that he did, but not about me being, like, getting out and being independent. So I took it upon myself to call her and be like, hey, I'd like to meet up. I want you to be my mentor so I can get out. I want to be independent. I want to be my own person and actually have friends. And, like, she was like, all right, I'll definitely meet up with you. I'll be your mentor, sure. And then we meet up, and basically it was like a bashing session. I was sitting there, and I was telling her about what happened and why I want to get out. And like, I got grounded because I went on a drive with one of my friends. Like, what the hell? I'm cut off from any friends because I'm in that house 24/7. I don't have school to go to, so I don't have any social life there. The only social life I have is when I go to work. And I love work, and it's super fun for me, but, like, she basically was like, you made choices that led you here, and, like, this is why you're here. And I was like, I realize that, but I still want to be a kid. And she's like, you can't be a kid. You're in a group home. You can't be normal. Like, you have to follow the rules and be more mature than what you are.
Stone Age. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And I was like, I was like, no, I feel like I want to be a kid. I want to be myself. She says you can't because you're in a group home. You made decisions to get there, and that's that. And I basically was just like, you know what, that whatever. Okay, and I just went on to the next subject, and I tried to get myself, like, I tried to change the subject to what I expected from her. I wanted to talk about my goals. I written down 2 pages of goals for the next month, goals for the next year, goals for the next 5 years. Like, I have plans to join the army. I have plans to, like, be out there. I want to be someone who will make a change. And she, like, took the paper and she just put it down, and then she went back to her little therapy session. And I was like, I'm done. I was here. I wanted to, like, I wanted to talk about what I wanted to do with my life, but yet here you are basically telling me that, in short words, I'm a piece of shit. And it's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And it really irritated me, and I've been letting people know. I've been like, you know what? I am sick of this. I have, like, so much on my plate that, honestly, I'm surprised I'm alive. I really am. When I was a kid, I used to have suicidal thoughts because of all this negativity around me. Like, it got to the point where when I was in jail, I actually took my sheet and wrapped it around my throat, and then I realized I have family. I have people to live for. And there are other people that are just like me that almost went to that extreme, to where they would kill themselves because just to get out of it. And it took me a while to get out of it. It really did. And I try to let people know, and in the whole DOC and in the whole CPS and everything, there are some good people. There are some people that actually care about us. And in fact, I actually have them as friends on Facebook because they'll talk to me and they will help me through any feelings that I have. And like, I owe my life to them, because there's one staff at Pine Hills who actually took me under his wing and basically said, I know how you feel, and I am so sorry that you have to go through this. And I just want you to realize that I am here for you. And I want you to know that there are many people out there that are there for you and that are in your exact same position and that are having the exact same troubles that you are. And, like, you are not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I can honestly say that I cried for the next week. I was so, like, overwhelmed that there was actually somebody that cared. Because, like, there was also another staff at that same unit, same everything, that super homophobic. And I am one that I don't care if you voice your opinion, but as long as you're not hurting me, my family, or my friends. And that's exactly what she did. She was basically like, I was like, I don't understand, like, why do you have such a problem with me? And she said, you need to keep your sexuality out of everything. I said, what does this have to do with anything? She said, you are what's wrong with this world.
Oh my gosh. Mom.
I about lost it.
I need my phone. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I about lost it. It was so bad.
Sorry about that.
Like, she basically, she tore me down. She brought me down to the rawest parts of my life. And, like, it's hard. It really is to, like, sit there and get told that you're worthless, that you don't deserve to live because you're gay. You're just not worth breathing the air. And I've matured so much over the past 5 years. I mean, when I was 12 years old, like 11 years old, my mom was going through so much like depression and so much like bad stuff in her life that I felt that I needed to be the man of the house. I'm the eldest. I need to bring I need to keep my emotions down, and I need to make sure that I can show that I'm strong for my family. And that's why I have such trouble showing emotion, because when I was young, that that little part of my life, it ingrained in me. And I was basically like, you know what? I need to make sure that I show no weakness. I need to be strong for everybody around me. And it carried over. It really did. And I've gotten to the point to where I'd lie and I'd manipulate and I would do so much like crap because I had like nothing else to go to. And I got like, I guess I could say that, I know this sounds bad, but that I'm a master manipulator or a liar. And I've told my therapist, and I've told him, I'm like, you know what? I will be as honest as I can with you guys, as long as you are here to help me. And basically, I told her, I was like, I can lie through a lie detector test and pass it with flying colors. I have no problem with doing that. But because you are here to help me, I want to be able to help myself as well. I want to, I guess, change for the better. And she knows, I, I am strong. I'm a very mature kid for my age. I mean, I'm only 17, and I basically have my life planned out exactly how I know I want to do it. And when someone tries to, bash on me or get in my face and tell me that I'm worthless, I kind of stand there and I'm thinking, what happened to these guys in their life that could make it to how, they want to hurt someone else?
Right.
And it's just, it's hard. It really is. Especially for people who, don't have experience with this. Because, I've had experience all the way from the third grade. I used to be, it all started with one question. Are you crooked or straight? And being I want to say, 9-year-old Kris that I was, I didn't know what that meant. And I wanted to be different. So I said crooked. Next thing you know, the next day, everybody was calling me a fag. Everybody was calling me a queer. Everybody was, bashing on me because I didn't know what that was. And, it got to me. From the grade 3 all the way up until my 8th grade year, I had 3 friends. Three, I guess, not outcasts, but people who were just like me, who were hated on and who were like just like nobody let them in their group. And we became probably the best friends that I will never forget. They were amazing and they were awesome, and I love them. I really do. And now I am to that point in my life where I feel comfortable with myself. I don't care what other people think of me. I will speak my opinion, even if like it has a chance to like. Well, actually, let me reword that. I will voice my feelings, and I don't care how people portray me, because I am my own person. And just because someone else thinks that I'm worthless, or I'm a fag, or I should die, I know that I'm better. I'm not going to stoop down to their level because they feel like they need to bash on someone to fit in. And it's a long life.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I am much older than I am. I really do.
Well, I wanted to
I don't know
ask
if that's
you, how old was the cousin when you were 7? How old was the cousin?
I want to say around 12 to 14.
Okay. And and one of the things I was thinking of was, we see this, I know this a lot from just like youth groups and working with teenagers and so on, and I've heard people go, oh, those crazy youth, or they're all bad, or, whatever. And I know better than that. And I feel like just from hearing your story, and I'm so appreciative of you telling it, troubled youth or troubled system, because so much could have been avoided, so much could have been healed from way back then carried out, like I said originally when you first started telling the story. But what is one of the things that, and I'm so thankful that you've told this story, and I know that there's going to be a lot of viewers that are gonna see this, and it's going to give them a voice. But what is something that you want to tell somebody that's been through something similar to you, what you've been through?
Honestly, I want to let them know that they're not alone. Because I definitely felt alone throughout about 3 years of that whole, like, in the beginning. And it made me feel so horrible about myself. And it made me so, like, self-conscious about everything
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't want to be. I wanted to be someone. I wanted to be the tool in the chess game. I wanted to be that key part in their plan because I thought that they knew best for me. If you feel that there is something that is like not to your morals or not to like understanding, ask someone. May it be them or may it be someone else who you trust. I struggled with that, and it's definitely hard to get through if you're doing it by yourself. But speak out. Like, you have a voice. And your voice, although you may not, like, realize it, it carries. Kind of like, have you ever heard of uh, my goodness, what's it called? The butterfly effect.
Yeah,
One flap of a butterfly wing can lead up to a tornado.
that's right. That's what we are.
And
We are that tornado.
exactly. And I want them to know, even though they feel like that little butterfly, it's going to start a whole new step and a new day into the right direction.
Good stuff there, Kris. Kris, I want to tell you something. I want to validate you. You are a precious young man, and you have a great future ahead of you. And I know you're full of lots of gifts. I can tell just by the way you talk. And I just want to see you become all that God made you to be. And I believe that's going to happen. And I see you really, literally saving countless amounts of people who have been through what you've been through. So you just keep speaking out. I am beyond proud of you. I know your mom is beyond proud of you. And I know that you got a lot of ears that are going to be listening to this, and it's going to help a lot of lives. So I really appreciate you coming on here today. It means a lot.
Of course.
So I don't know if your
You
mom
guys
wants
ever
to say anything.
Don't be afraid to call on me.
Yeah, and you're on Facebook if they want to reach out to you, right?
Exactly.
And it's Kris Nelson. It's in the heading of this video if you guys want to reach out to him. So thank you so much. I don't know if your mom want to add anything? Does she want to say anything? Mom?
I don't know. I feel like she's listening like way in the other room.
Oh, she's not sitting right by you. I thought she was sitting there.
She was. I think she wanted to give me privacy.
Okay.
Hey, Mom.
She wanted to give you privacy with the whole world watching?
Yeah.
I was watching.
Here's Mama.
She was watching in the other room. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Did you want to say anything?
Privacy. Just that I'm very, very proud of who he's become with everything that he's been through. And I have been praying for so long to wait to speak up. And then I ran into an old friend of mine, Amber, and her and I met back up after being apart for like 6 years almost. And we just started, and we just need to put an end to this.
Yeah, you do. And bullying comes in all kinds of forms. And sadly, because I know exactly how you feel, Kris, and I know your mom feels that way. The worst bullying that there is the bullying that we all endure that comes from our authoritative figures. Because if you can't turn to them, who don't enforce that's right, and if you can't, I know what that feels like to try to protect my own son who's 10 when they don't protect these children. So it's the worst feeling on earth. You feel completely defeated. You feel completely like there's no way out. So we all understand that, and it comes in different forms. That abuse comes in all different kinds of forms, but when it comes from them, and that's the reason we want to get rid of this system completely. So
yeah.
Exactly.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. So you got a lot of love being sent to you right now from all the viewers. So, and thank you.
Sister.
Hello. Hi. What are you eating? Did you get me one? Oh, thank you. Can I have some? She's giving it to me. What is it? What is it?
Frozen yogurt.
Frozen yogurt. All right. All right.
Well, thank you so much again.
God bless you guys.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
What is